can.
Okay,
Go
okay.
ahead,
So
Pankaj. Yeah.
yeah, first of all, Sandeep, thanks for taking out time for this particular interaction. So let me start by asking, today there's a lot of emphasis around digital transformation in the organization, and that's what the task have been asked to do by the CIO. So how much you see that is also causing an impact around or exposing the organizations towards cybersecurity related risk and attacks. How do you see both aspects today?
No, can you please repeat the second part of your question?
Okay, my question was that there is emphasis on digital transformation for various benefits that brings to the organization, but it also brings the organization more exposed to today's
Yeah.
latest risk around cybersecurity, different kind of attacks. So how do you see
Right. Right.
organizations or the CIOs in particular
Yeah, I
needs
got it.
to balance
Right.
out?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that question. So, I will just kind of look back a few years into, how IT has been evolving, and that can basically set the perspective, right? So, a few years back, I'm talking about pre-pandemic. If we were to look at hybrid IT and the share of physical, machines with the vis-a-vis virtual machines and the adoption of cloud, I would say that each component of had almost more or less the same share. So physical would have been in the range of 35 to 30% share as part of the overall, IT hybrid IT environment for any company. Virtual infrastructure used to be around, same 35-30%. And then cloud was in an early adoption phase, so that was in the range of 25 to 30%. But what happened post pandemic is that acceleration to cloud it was really something which happened across the board, and more workloads started going to cloud. So we have a study which talks about the mix of you know how hybrid IT would look like in 2023 and beyond, where cloud has almost 50% of the overall IT share. Okay, and the rest is almost equally divided between the physical environment and the virtual environment. Okay, now you see the big change, right? A lot of workloads in have moved to cloud, which means the challenges. There are different challenges that associated with cloud migrations have come to the fore. But data protection strategies for organizations have not changed. Neither has the technology that they're using for protecting cloud data change. You know, in fact, many organizations still do not protect, cloud data, SaaS data, unstructured data, or even for that matter, have exposures on Kubernetes and containers, right? So you see, while the production environment and IT environment has transformed, data protection strategies have not changed, because of which there is a gap. Okay, there is an availability and protection gap. Almost 80% of organizations believe that there is a gap on availability and protection, from what business expects and what IT can deliver for them.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
yeah.
so 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 essentially, to mitigate the risk associated with this RPO and RTO gaps, organizations are now rethinking of their data protection strategy. Okay, backup strategy and security strategy. I'm sure ransomware is top of mind for many organizations on how to contend the challenge, and how to make their IT more resilient. So these are the things that are really bearing on the minds of the IT fraternity.
Okay, and do you see the entire digital transformation as a concept or as an approach would also need more emphasis around cybersecurity? Do you see that layer needs to be more broader and to ensure that the risks are mitigated in a better way in a for the organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we expect that customers are going to spend 7 to 10% more on security and data protection going forward. Okay, so that budget has increased, for customers, particularly in India as well. Organizations are expected to spend more. Okay, so you know, from the standpoint of data protection or backup, I would say, this would be uh, part of the overarching, like, security umbrella that organizations are thinking of, right? So it is not just about securing, but protecting, or or ability to recover is very important. Today, ransomware is really making the I mean, the number of ransomware attacks that happen, like, it's really making customers, or IT, get the CISO organization and the infrastructure organization together, and think about what could be a joint strategy to tackle, challenges like ransomware. Okay, so the report does talk about 85% of the organizations having faced ransomware attacks. So I would say that, security, well, it's paramount. Organizations are spending a lot of money there, but there is a need to prioritize defense, along with hardening the attack surface. So, on an average, there are, like, what, 30 plus security software that are implemented in a company, right? In enterprise IT. But yet, if ransomware attacks are happening, it essentially tells us that there are certain vulnerabilities that are not covered by the security software, and the bad actors can come in from anywhere. So uh, it means we got to have a very strong line of defense. And as the world's largest company in modern data protection and ransomware recovery, we believe that a good data protection strategy can be the best line of defense and provide companies with the ability to bounce back, to recover their data, in wake of, ransomware attack or any threats that can come to their data.
Okay, so just want to touch on the point that you had discussed. So are you, based on the survey, are we seeing that organization, there is a lot of emphasis around digital transformation and various initiatives. There is still lack of focus on the data protection side and data recovery. I mean, apart as a overall cybersecurity, but do you think this specific data related strategy also needs to be for emphasized, or needs to be paid more attention for by the CIOs and CISOs?
Oh, 100%. Like I said, because uh, data protection being the best line of defense, and the probability of ransomware attack being high. Okay. Uh, you can recover from a ransomware or a security attack only if your backups survive, right? And for your backups to survive, your backups need to be immutable, which means, the ransomware attacker should not be able to take control of your backup, either delete the backup or encrypt your backup data. Okay. Most of the ransomware attacks actually are aimed at your backup data. 93% of the ransomware attacks are aimed at your backup data. Why? Is because if they know that if they take charge of your backup information, then you cannot recover, and then they get the money, the ransom that they are demanding.
Okay.
Okay,
And
so
yeah.
no, go ahead.
So in this entire, gamut of things, one side is your digital transformation, other side your cybersecurity, data protection, backup, business continuity, various key elements within your enterprise IT. What role VM is playing in terms of, addressing these challenges for the CIOs and the organization?
We are basically helping our CIOs in I would say non-technical standpoint on two things. One, we are helping organizations to build confidence that they can handle or manage a cyber security situation in a much better way, and we are able to deliver resiliency for their IT. In more technical terms, I would say that, we are helping organizations on three things. One is data security. Okay. The number two area where we help companies is on data recovery. And the third is data freedom. Okay. So I'm sure, data security and data recovery is very well understood. Data freedom is something that I would want to highlight, because of hybrid IT, where 50% of the share is taken by cloud, right? Which I was trying to explain earlier on. Multi-cloud is a reality. And what customers are looking at is the ability to move workload from cloud A to cloud B, even in case of a cyber attack. And if, let's say, customers are storing their immutable backup on a cloud A, they are looking at a capability that, let me recover that data now on cloud B, or let me recover that data on-prem, right? So data freedom is I would say, one of the most challenging aspects, okay, that customers need help on. And I think as the world's number one player, we are helping customers in this three area, with data freedom being, uh, something very important in the current
Okay.
times.
And before we wrap, I had gone through the survey, and which says 90% of businesses or companies have reported ransomware attack, and one out of four are ransomware related cyber attack. So how do you see the awareness? How much organizations are investing or focusing to deal with this particular situation or scenario in industry? I mean, in a country like India or market like India, how do you see, based on
No,
your
yeah,
interactions with your customers and in the market?
I think that there is a lot of risk inbuilt, or basically risk that is not addressed in a hybrid IT when it comes to the data. Okay, and I'll tell you why I'm saying this. Uh, you know, uh, Many organizations could be on an existential crisis if they do not revamp their data protection strategy. Okay, the reason being that, if organizations have moved to cloud, they need to protect the cloud data. And there is an exposure if organizations are not doing it. If organizations, so I'm talking about any cloud, AWS, Google, cloud, Azure, or any cloud service provider, whatever, right? Uh, then look at SaaS applications. SaaS software as a service is one of the fastest growing domains within hybrid IT. And critical applications like M365 or even Salesforce, these are like, giants in themselves and with a huge customer base. I think organizations have not really understood the importance so far of protecting SaaS data, which is extremely critical, important, and important for survival as well. And this gets validated from the fact that even Microsoft has announced just couple of weeks back, backup of M365, native backup of M365. Okay. So, the principal companies or provider of this solution, SaaS solutions offer, know that this is important, this is critical. Veeam has been in this business for a long time with millions of users. Okay, our job is to create that awareness so that organizations don't expose, their SaaS data, to, because that data can can get simply deleted or attacked by, ransomware companies. The third important thing I would say is unstructured information, NAS data, file server, file share. It is 80% of the digital universe. And there is an exposure that companies have in terms of securing unstructured data, because they don't follow the same policy for maybe, Oracle database or for SQL data or so on, transactional data. Right. So, of these cases that happened, right? The big medical institution in Delhi,
Mm.
and
Mm.
then certain financial companies in Mumbai and some pharma companies elsewhere. They, actually ransomware entered into their systems through maybe the printer ports or the camera ports or so on. So, they are essentially trying to address attack the unstructured data or even the backup data for that matter, which is not protected. So there is an exposure there. Okay. So likewise, I would say when we look at the overall IT, there are several gaps that are there that needs to be bridged. And it being the world's number one player, it is our job. We feel that, we should be spreading that awareness, creating that awareness through our channel ecosystem to help customers understand the need to protect not just the core, traditional transactional data, but also a lot of these data sets that are there, including Kubernetes and containers, right? So even that data we are protecting. So you just think about it. The possibilities are endless, actually.
Okay, and last before we wrap this, what would be your simple advice for CIOs and CISOs in terms of while they are rolling out digital transformation plans and for the organization, what is they should keep in mind when it comes to cybersecurity, ransomware, data protection, key points they need to keep in mind. What's your advice to them?
My single most important advice to the fraternity would be, you know, keep doing what you are doing with your security. Okay. Uh, but prepare for the worst. And what I mean by preparing for the worst is build your last line of defense. I think there is a need for the technology fraternity to, uh, prioritize on data protection and backup strategy. Okay, ahead of any other thing that they could perhaps be doing. And the reason why I say that is because the most important thing that you need when you are driving on a fast track or on a speedy or a highway is perhaps having proper security systems within in your car itself, good brakes, uh, you know, seat belt, airbags, all of these security and protection measures are very important, because when you have them, then you know that you can race much faster. So when organizations are racing in the direction of transformation, okay, they need to know that at least their backend data is safeguarded. The last line of defense is the first action that organizations need to take today.
Sandeep, with that, we'll wrap this conversation, and it's nice talking to you and getting insights on the report and overall, cybersecurity, the resilience, and how CIOs needs to go about. So, thanks for this time and for this particular call.
Yeah, thank you, Pankaj. Pleasure, having you here on the conference call, and look forward to meeting you sometime.
Sure, thank you.
All right, take care.